for all verified facts. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and click the bell icon to get the latest updates.
Hello and welcome to From the Front Lines. I am Govindraj Ethiraj. Now, the Reliance Industries stock price has been almost on a dream run. It rose 170% from about 870s levels in March to hit a high of 2,380 or so in the month of September. And then it started declining and it fell almost 9% on one day. That's Monday, the 2nd of November. Now, Reliance is a bellwether stock. It's present in many large portfolios, funds, many investors hold the company's stock and for decades. So therefore, the interest in what's happening in Reliance and why the company's stock price has fallen so suddenly at a time when it's been bucking the trend in many other ways or seen to be bucking the trend, including raising over $22 billion from investors for its retail as well as its telecom arms. So therefore, this has come as a bit of a surprise. So let's try and understand what's really happening and why. And I'm joined to do that by Deven Choksi, Group Managing Director of KR Choksi and Company. Deven, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Govind.
So, Deven, so what happened? Why did the stock, which seemed to be otherwise bucking all trends, start falling, particularly at a time when the market is still holding strong?
So, yeah, I think it's an important point to understand. The Reliance as a company is basically having a weight of around more than 15% as of now, I think, on the indices, mainland indices. And those funds which are basically owning the stock when they benchmark themselves with the indices, I think their basically weight, I think, cannot go beyond 10% because I think that would, particularly the Indian mutual fund, I think their restriction would be, I think, not to take an overexposure because of the guidelines. So from that perspective, if you look at it, in any case, I think if they have to benchmark their fund's performance, I think the Reliance will have to have the higher weight. Here already the Reliance is overweight as far as I think most of the funds are concerned, be it global funds, be it India funds. And as a result of which, I think there further headroom to create, I think, additional weight is missing. So that is one technical point as far as I think the market is concerned. When you cannot add more number of stocks in your portfolio, though I think the stock is having weight in the index, I think that's a time when probably I think some of the short sellers, bear operators in the market would get activated and they would probably I think play around with the stock and they would hammer the stock. So the stock price comes down.
Right. So the fall also followed weak second quarter results where the net profit fell to about 9,567 crores. But that's not the exact number is not the issue here. So expectedly, the revenue and net profits were down because obviously the energy business was not doing well or did not do well, keeping in mind that we had a lockdown and an overall slowdown in the economy. But that, Deven, was already known, isn't it?
Yes, and that is where I'm saying that I think I probably do not subscribe to this particular theory that the result was down, that is why the stock prices came down. According to me, I think the result was fairly known. When you have a Singapore GRM which is in negative in this quarter, as against which I think the GRM for Reliance stood at around $5.7 to a barrel. So that's not, I think, negative. They have the alpha or the delta to play with as far as I think the GRM is concerned. At the same time, the refinery was shut down for the maintenance purpose. That was also known, so it was very discounted. The more important part is the Reliance retail business and the Jio platform business. Both these businesses have shown distinct improvement in the performance, both on the revenue side as well as on the profit side. And that is what I think is important, that I think these two consumer-facing businesses are showing relatively, I think, better performance than what his market was expecting. In my viewpoint, I think going forward, if one is looking at the trend for Reliance per se, between the O2C business, retail business and the Jio platform business, my take would be that somewhere down the line in one of the quarters in the 21-22 financial year, you might be seeing, I think, the profits of conventional business would probably stand equal to the retail and the Jio platform business. So from that perspective, I think the company is moving relatively in a good direction.
Right.
Maybe I think the market would reconcile on this particular aspect.
Right. Okay. So walk us through what these three divisions mean in terms of the contribution to both revenue and profitability. So we have the traditional energy business, which includes petrochemicals or rather petrochemicals to exploration and thus energy. We have retail, which is the newer business, and we of course have telecom, which is maybe the more visible business or the most visible business today. So between the three, where do things lie today and where could it go?
Yes, so I think these three businesses, the O2C business, the retail business, and the Geo platform business. On a yearly basis, last year, the ratio was two-third, one-third, which means the two-third of performance contribution came in from the conventional O2C business, and one-third of the performance came in from the retail and the Geo platform business. As it stands today, I think the likely 2021 financial year performance would be somewhere around 40% plus kind of a contribution coming from the retail and the geo business, and continue to remain, I think, 55-60% kind of a contribution coming from the O2C business. And going forward, as I was making a point in
Right.
21, 22, I think you are likely to see these both business portfolios, the consumer facing portfolio and the industrial portfolio of business, which is conventional oil and gas and refining and petrochemical business, they would probably, I think, remain equal at some point of time in 21, 22 financial year.
Right. So now the other question is that one fund, Macquarie, suddenly said, or maybe not so suddenly, that it was expecting the stock to underperform substantially and more than 40%. So every brokerage house has its right to have its own views, but why would they do that so suddenly?
So I think let us understand one thing, that every brokerage house has a different set of customers. Suppose if I would not name the brokerage, but I
Sure.
think the brokerage probably would have a customer in the area of, say, for example, the traded funds. Those traded funds would probably, I think, look at the recommendation differently vis-a-vis the long only funds, which are sovereign funds, pension funds, insurance funds, would typically look at, I think, the recommendations differently. So in such case, I think when they say underperform, in this situation, I would tend to believe that I think those funds would probably try to beat the indices. In such process, the brokerage firm or the research firm would recommend the stock either overperform, underperform, or market perform kind of a
Right.
nomenclature. That is where I think probably market is requiring to have much more clarity. In fact, I think I would go on and expect, I think, the regulator to set the norm for the recommendation so that it does not result into misleading the investor. I think clearly recommendation should be, I think, categorized as far as, I think, the types of the investor to whom it is addressed to. If that is done, then probably I think this kind of misunderstanding
Right.
in the market would probably get sorted.
Right. And there have been a lot of rumors about the chairman and managing director Mukesh Ambani's health, which have been addressed, and everyone knows that he's fine and has seen him. Now, but this has raised a larger question, which is with three large verticals and each with its own engine or need for its own engine, is there enough management capability and depth? And maybe these questions come up suddenly. What's your take?
So I think as I have seen this company progressing over last so many years, I think honestly speaking, Reliance is an institution and not one-man army. Let us, I think, accept it very clearly. It is beyond, I think, one person's ability to run the entire business all at a time. They have distinctly, I think, good quality of people who are running the businesses in the O2C segment, in the retail segment, as far as that, and also the geo platform segment. And as far as I think the rumors go, probably I think you have to label it to the WhatsApp fake factory.
Sure.
I think the fake business is going on in this country. So I think that's where probably I think this kind of rumor spread, and the advantage would go to the people who have got the motivated interest into such kind of activities.
Right. So accepted. So the question, like I said, was therefore larger. I mean, if it's such a large company with such a huge investment from large investors, and in any company, people would ask about succession. People would ask about, okay, no one is immortal, so who's going to take over what business when? So is there any thought in that direction?
Well, as I see it, I think the promoter family has been preparing their second line of promoters to take over the reins of respective businesses. And all three children probably at some point of time, after achieving necessary experience and the expertise to run the businesses, would possibly be given the leadership to run respective businesses. As of now, I think from my side, if I say something, it would be pure speculation.
Sure.
So I would not like to, I think, add further into that particular.
Sure. So let me take a slightly different angle, Devin. You know, a lot of funds now globally, for instance, are getting wary of fossil fuel-based businesses, and that's perhaps one reason why the stock has also been facing pressure as environmentally sustainable or focused environmentally sustainable funds start pulling back, and this is happening globally. Now, this affects the stock price. It may not affect the business per se. Do you see that also playing or weighing down the stock?
Honestly speaking, no, because I think the Reliance, if you see how exactly they have put their vision before the investors, they say that by 2035 they would be a carbon neutral company as far as I think their current operations on the industrial segment of business, which is oil and gas segment of the business is concerned, where they have the refining segment, they have petrochemical and polymer segment and exploration businesses. All put together, I think they would probably become carbon neutral company. So in a way, I think one can expect that the company is moving in the direction of going into the alternate fuels, the renewable energy. That is one area which is simply required to be seen as far as Reliance's operations are concerned going forward. My take would be that I think the Reliance would probably, I think, be a significant player into the hydrogen segment of fuel at some point of time. And that is where I think the company is likely to probably grow
Right.
faster in coming period. So let's keep our eyes on, I think, whatever the developments which are happening in this direction. But I think they are not likely to be a fossil fuel company as it is currently. I think they are likely to change the character over next 1 decade to 1.5.
Right, and the movement towards that has very clearly begun. So last question,
Yeah.
Devin. So when you look at the two other ventures, in particularly where there's been a lot of fundraising, including telecom, for which or geo platforms, for which more than $20 billion have been raised. These platforms, these verticals are going to face competition from different companies. For instance, the telecom vertical will face competition from Bharti, which has apparently or sort of evidently done better in profitability in this quarter. The retail may face competition from a different kind of in a different set, which could include e-commerce and if any other players survive. So how do you see that that playing out? Because Reliance's strength usually comes from large monopoly positions and not necessarily when it is in head-on competition with rivals.
So I'm glad, Govind, you raised this particular question and allow me to, I think, elaborate, I think, on this particular business, which I have understood. On one side, you have got the retail business where we have ground on the ground 14,000 stores. And now the company is moving in the direction of creating the online presence through GeoMart kind of a property. So what they're typically doing is offline to online kind of a move, which is we call it as an omni-channel kind of a business model, wherein the last mile customer is basically I think given the services through the ground stores as well as I think online delivery onto their doorsteps. So this is one important model which this company is moving ahead with. If you look at I think how Amazon is proposing themselves I think for next 10-15 years, Amazon created typically the online set of business first, and now they are moving into the offline set of
Right.
business. Reliance has created offline, and now they are moving into the online. According to me, I think this is the way forward. You have to connect both on the ground business as well as in the cloud business. I think that is important aspect. Similarly, if you look at I think the geo platform business, in geo platform business also it's more of a technological play, wherein on one side the low hanging customers or B2C customers that you call it as, I think are acquired to the mobility spectrums. On the other side, I think the fiber to home is giving you customers which are home customers, and fiber to enterprise would be giving you the customers which are enterprise driven customers. So larger play in the geo is going to be data play. And again, in the data play, I think they are likely to play with, I think, different verticals, starting from agricultural to media entertainment at the end. Probably you will see a wide spectrum of vertical operating, which is going to consume more data, which is going to consume more content. And that is where this company is going to drive the business forward, both in the area of subscription based activity as well as in the area of, I think, the advertisement and the data consumption activity, which is likely to be the revenue model going forward. So I am convinced that I think this particular business strategy, which is probably, I think, the strategy to go and quite a disruptive strategy to go, the rest of the people in the industry probably are like catching up, I would not name the competitor, but I think most of the competitors will have to catch up very significantly if they have to catch up with Reliance, because they are not only the service provider, but they are also the ecosystem provider, which is a unique combination, which probably I think in
Right.
the world not too many people can think of. So I would think that they would have an edge over us.
Right. So absolutely last question, Devin. So I'm assuming you're not putting a sell on Reliance, but is it a buy or a hold for you?
In fact, I think every such opportunity which gives a correction in the stock price
Right.
is a buy opportunity, because I'm seeing this 10-year period for Reliance is going to be a game-changing period. This is one disruptive move which is currently on, and in my viewpoint, I think those who stay invested for next 10 years, God willing, I think they would be making good amount of money out of the business program that they are executing currently.
Right. Devin Choksi, thank you very much for speaking to us. Always a pleasure talking to you.
My pleasure. Man. Thank you.